Hey guys, welcome back to Pillbox Movies. I'm Hank, and today we're going to be watching the 1960 Korean drama slash psychological thriller maybe, The Housemaid. This is considered one of the greatest and most influential Korean films of all time. Both Park Chan-wook and Bong Joon-ho have cited director Kim Ki-young as an influence, as well as this film in particular. Apparently 2019's Parasite draws direct influence from this film. I haven't seen much like Korean drama or like non-genre films, especially from this era, so I'm excited to check this out. So yeah, let's do that. This movie is available to watch as part of Martin Scorsese's World Cinema Project in the Criterion Collection. You can actually just watch this on YouTube if you want. I think it should still be available to watch on YouTube. Probably cost you a little less. Full disclosure, I have seen the remake of this, the 2010 one by Im Sang-soo. That one was okay, but I was watching it as a part of this kind of group of movies modeled after real life criminal events and stuff. And so I think the story of this takes inspiration from, I forgot what their names were, but this pair of early 20th century or late 19th century French sisters who were like housemaids who ended up killing their employers, which ended up influencing a lot of movies, including La Ceremony, which I watched last year.
여봐. 김천에서 주인이 한여를 데리고 살다가 사건이 생겼어.
남다른 치사예요. 한여 따위에 흥미를 가져요?
And comparing this to its remake, it's interesting that both start with kind of a drawing from the headlines kind of beginning, foreshadowing what may happen later on in the story. In the remake, the two main characters accidentally witness a suicide.
회사에서 돌아오면 현관에서 맞아주고 언제나 한여를 손날 곳에 놔두고 있단 말이야.
여보세요. 신성한 가정에서
Yeah, probably
그런 말과
not.
행동은 안 했으면 좋겠어요.
Okay, so we're already kind of drawing a lot of comparisons in terms of expectations and perhaps reality, in terms of the social roles and functions of this profession of being a housemaid. Whether or not you're kind of expected to do everything or fulfill every desire of your master, or if such an idea is kind of contradictory to the natural or expected thoughts of the upper class. And this tangled cat's cradle we weave.
빨리 편지 내놔. 퇴짜 주면 음악 선생이라 로맨틱해서 화약고 같거든?
이런 일을 처벌하면 여공은 큰 타격을 받게 되는 것을 아시오?
이런 풍계문란을 용서하시렵니까?
Indecent behavior. Yeah, we have a lot of expectations, like societal expectations as to decorum or the proper way to behave set up early in this movie.
있는 동안 고마웠어. 며칠 쉬고 와.
Big train sequences featured on this channel. Umbrellas of Rochefort, definitely. Any other ones? Have we done Pochak yet?
어떻게 왔어?
선생님께 피아노 개인 교수를 해주십사고요. 아버지, 이거 아줌마가 줬어.
이리 들어와.
Okay, so the remake actually is a very different setup from this.
공장에서 피아노 지도받으러 왔어.
In the remake, the family that takes on the main character as a housemaid and as an au pair is an incredibly wealthy, high-status family, and kind of in the same vein as Parasite. But this structure seems pretty different, where the family in question seems pretty middle class, and she first enters their household under the guise of wanting to take piano lessons.
뭐 잘못된 데 있어요?
오늘 내게 이혼의 편지를 보내온 여직원이 있었지.
그게 흔히 첫사랑이라는 거예요.
쓸데없는 소리.
There's an interesting screenwriting technique that's being used right now. We'll see if it keeps going with this. But there's certain kind of elisions that are happening where it leaves a scene just a bit early. And so you're left with this kind of like lingering thought.
한 줄만 쳐봐. 손가락이 신기하게 움직이게 될 테니까.
Lubricating her fingers. Moistening them.
우선
Nice.
손가락을 모으고 이렇게 눌러봐.
It's interesting, definitely, that he's being so intimate with her when, under the other circumstances, he was so abrupt. He was so curt with Kwok. Is the mother sick too?
귀에 놀랬어요.
하여간 쉽시다.
집이 너무 컸나 봐요. 이 집에선 한이 없인 못 해나가겠는걸요.
Hanyo. So maybe she has like a congenital disorder that the daughter's inherited?
과로야.
And we
10년 동안 재봉틀을 돌렸으니까.
oh, she's just been working too hard at the sewing machine. But we have a similar setup to Parasite where the mother is kind of a little bit out in her own world. They're seeding a lot of kind of information that the father, that Mr. Kim, is actually a pretty like intense sensualist behind his kind of gruff exterior. The way he handles his wife, the way he handles the piano lesson with Miss Cho. They were repeating this image of the cabinetry. I wonder if there's like, my guess right now is there's going to be poison in one of these that they're going to like select from the wrong package or whatever. Yeah, there we go. Poison.
이걸 먹으면 죽어. 누구야?
선생님 먼저 부탁하네요.
그렇군.
So Miss Cho isn't even going to be the titular housemaid, although I'm guessing, I don't know, they've put so much import on her character, I'm guessing this girl isn't going to work out and she's eventually going to work as their housemaid. Wow, just handling a rat like that. What the heck? Slicing off its tail?
쥐는 약으로 잡아. 쥐약이 선반에 있으니.
Okay, so maybe there's something a bit wrong with this girl. I'm already thrown for so many loops. This is so different in terms of its setup from the remake. I actually don't know who to identify as are going to be the main characters, because I assume it's going to be Miss Cho. But now they've put so much attention on this new girl. It's like The Godfather or something. They keep switching their main character for the first act. This is a great design for like a manor piece for showing the big house. I really like that. And I like this, it's confusing. I'm wondering how they'll resolve it. But this kind of mix of styles of this house, it seems to have on the interior kind of old-fashioned interior design, but on the outside it seems pretty modern. It's an interesting clash.
나보다 언닌 아저씨가 손을 꼭 잡고 가르치니까 더 재밌겠어. 뭐?
어서 와. 지금 기다리던 참이야.
I wonder if these staircases are going to figure into like later developments in the plot. That would make sense because they've been featuring it a lot, and of course staircases are iconic to Parasite as well.
예. 이거 네 거지?
네.
자, 비워봐. 비워봐.
I'm having actually a kind of hard time tracing his character because he starts out so imperious, and from what I gather from some of the rest of these interactions, he is a little bit softer than his earlier characterizations. The only thing I can kind of pinpoint though is that he's nicer to the young, attractive women.
나도 경이 모양 피아노를 배우고 싶어요.
얘기해두지만 피아노는 절대로 만지면 안 돼.
Not with your cigarette fingers.
알았지?
Girl, you can't be playing that piano. What the hell? It's a nice kind of framing choice to show their attraction in the reflection in the piano.
선생님을 사랑한 건 저예요.
난 경이의 아무 것에도 응할 수 없어.
It's a married man.
사람이 죽어도요.
미친 사람이 죽는 것도
You can't just threaten somebody like that.
비 오는 날 밤 김 선생께 폭행을 당해
What the hell?
억울하게 죽었으니 원수를 갚아달라겠어요.
That escalated quickly. So is her friend gonna stand up for her, or is she gonna say the truth?
이것이 증거가 돼요.
A lot at play already. It's more complicated than I thought it would be.
자기를 해하라 할 땐 정당방위를 하는 거야. 이 아래를 내려다봐.
Shows attraction to Kim's devotion to his family, and with the housemaid watching the entire time.
내 식구를 굶겨주길 수는 없어.
Yeah, is he gonna kill her with the stairs?
앞으로도 피아노를 배우러 와. 식구가 하나 누니까 돈이 필요해.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. That's why the wife is weak. I wasn't really thinking about it from that perspective. Yeah, it's because she's overworking herself, working while pregnant. Okay.
미스터 옷을 찢은 건 괜찮고요. 아주머니한테 일러줄까 보다. 두 사람이 신나게 놀더라.
Why is everybody plotting so much in this movie?
여기 들어오셨으면 약속하세요.
It's just some not nice people.
미스터 모양 뼈 하나도 주겠다고요.
너 미쳤니?
난 죽어도 좋으니까 미스터에게 지긴 싫어요.
All these women impressing themselves upon him. What a terrible life he leads. But this is like genuinely like a kind of fucked up circumstance to have all these people like in your house, in your private space. Oh my god, invading your privacy like this. It really is like incredibly wretched circumstances to be under, being entrapped in your own home like this. Oh my god. Okay, so I was definitely misreading his initial, like, kind of flirtation or attraction to these women. Or I was overreading it. He may have that impulse, but he did not desire it in the way that they desire it.
난 처녀가 아니에요. 이젠 시집가긴 다 틀렸어요. 제발 버리지 마세요. 앞으로는 한여 월급도 안 받고 담배도 안 필 테니.
She's freaking manipulative. Where the heck did this come from? How did this, like, snake in the grass just suddenly present itself? She doesn't have any vendetta against the family in particular, but they have, like, laid in the groundwork that, I don't know what this character's name actually is, but that she has a little bit of a mean streak in her.
애 낳을 자리를 마련해 주세요. 7달 후면 두 목숨이 살아야 되잖아요.
Never should have bought this new house. Bigger house, bigger problems. I wonder if they're going to continue with this idea of, like, the hands being infected. He needs to keep his hands pure to play the piano, and the hands, they're dirty hands, like the hands that have smoked a cigarette. He's not the subtlest man I've ever met. His solution to most problems seems to be with a hammer. I can relate.
여보, 당신은 무슨 일이 있더라도
be by my side. No, I've told you this entire time about wives leaving their husbands.
네.
살인도
네.
간통을 해서 어린애를 베게 했다면
Nope, not that.
여보
내게 이러지 마세요.
Yeah, seriously. She's giving you clues this entire time not to do this.
동침을 했어요. 내 몸에선 구린 냄새가 나는 것 같아요.
And it's funny because she feels the kind of same invasion that he feels, but about him, this entire house has been poisoned.
그럼 누구예요?
She's the housemaid.
치사하고 부끄러운 노릇이지만
It really is. Oh my god, this girl sucks so bad. I can't tell you, like, the kind of weird, like, personal anxiety, that, like, sympathetic anxiety I feel for him to have his prized possession, his piano, just stamped on by this fucking woman.
애 아버지한테 들었어. 내가 태중에 있다는 걸. 나가라면 나가겠어요. 전에 있던 숙사에 가서 여공들한테 선생님 애를 가졌다면 매겨는 줄 거예요. 억울하다고 생각해서죠.
Just for the translators, whoever did the subtitles for this, is like an ablative verb. I forget what the term is, but it wouldn't have a direct object, so it would be who the father is.
여자끼리는 서로 통할 수도 있고 서로 힘이 될 수도 있지 않아? 물론 떳떳한 남편이 있다면야 떼도 쓰고 먹을 것을 먹고 애 낳는 것도 덜 수 있지만 넌 아무 도움도 못 받을 테니 난 내가 불쌍하기 짝이 없어.
Just two pregnant ladies talking to each other.
이렇게 됐으니 내가 힘이 돼주마. 난 너를 귀여운 동생처럼 생각해왔어. 전 아주머니 하라는 대로 하겠어요. 전 아주머니를
So
괴롭히고 싶진 않아요.
it's so irritating to see crocodile tears in movies.
이렇게 해줘. 그애 좀 구슬리는 건 아무것도 아니었어요.
Is she easy to deal with? Who's dealing with whom?
홍등탑을 쉽게 무너뜨릴 수 없잖아요.
Home invasion movies. Oh my god, she convinced her to... Oh my god, that was not what I was expecting. And I built up the use of the staircases this entire time. I didn't realize, like, the wife was directly telling her to do this as a solution. It's just disgusting. This house is ruined. I love that this is a new house and it's so fucking shoddy. I love how mismatched its styles are between, like, I don't even know how to describe it, between, like, Western interior design and, like, I don't know, like stucco and like modern window placements or kind of access to the outdoors. Just an anxious, ugly movie, like intentionally ugly, but like everything's designed to make you feel so uncomfortable.
아주머니 나 좀 살려줘요. 나 좀 살려줘요, 아주머니.
I can't touch you. Your hands are dirty.
여보, 나 좀 살려줘요. 여보, 의사를 나 좀 살려줘요. 여보, 의사를.
And he just hides, closets himself in his piano room. It's an interesting kind of demarcation that when they lived in the smaller house, they had no privacy, and within the framework of this movie, that made them happier. They were open with each other, they were honest, and they had no strangers in their household. But now that they have a big house, they have their separate rooms, they have their secrets, and they have strangers.
수고하셨습니다.
어서 오세요. 애기 아버지시죠? 닮았군요.
내가요?
아니에요. 애기가요.
아들이래지.
얼마나 고생했느냐고는 안 물어보시는군요.
Everyone sucks here.
만사가 오래서.
Oh, she's fucking. Oh my god. Oh my god. She's gonna Medea these kids. You can't Medea kids who aren't your own.
이 미친 거사 나가서 물이나 떠와. 목이 말라.
It's insane how much your allegiances shift across this movie. Like, I really see the inspiration that Parasite drew from this, but really, everybody has wronged every other party so intensely, but so, like, believably within their frame of reference and their understanding. It escalates to the point of being like a Greek tragedy, where all parties are wrong, and all parties seek retribution that scales any sort of kind of human decency.
피가 안 멎어요. 애 죽인 죄로 나도 죽나 봐요. 그러나 당신들도 성치는 않을 거려.
No, please. Oh my gosh. Deeply, deeply terrifying words. You see why every party feels like they have to act first in defense, because there's a terrible outcome for everybody involved. If somebody decides to strike, the blow that will be laid will be so heavy. It'll be something that you can never take back. Yeah, it's kill or be killed. Jesus Christ. It's escalated so extremely. No. Do not Medea these kids. Oh my god.
이 물엔 쥐약이 들어가 있어. 쥐약? 어디한테 가 일로? 창순아!
Oh my god. This is just devolved into a fucking nightmare. This is why you needed to kill her when you had the chance. I'm sorry to say it, but it was the only way. These stairs are so pivotal. I love how every desperate decision is made on the staircase. That's the important part. Oh my god.
그렇지만 내가 밖에 나가서 떠들고 싶어질 걸. 난 내가 하자는 대로 해줘 마. 난 애 아버지를 줬으면 좋겠어. 네, 마음대로 하려면.
Disgusting. Disgusting. It went as far as a Greek tragedy, and then decided, let's go a couple further steps. He's being pimped out by his wife in his own house to the woman whose baby he's killed. Oh. I will say, while the wife does seem to enact the greatest brutalities of this movie, I'm kind of like, you know, she's the smart one here. Beautiful with the reflections. Oh, wow. That's an insanely great shot. Oh my gosh. Iconic. And the use of eyes again. This is a glass house. Everybody can see what everybody else is doing. I'm trying to distinguish what the kind of the lines are between like tragedy and melodrama and domestic drama and soap opera. It's really like really tight circumstances where it's hard to kind of distinguish between them. Oh, she switched the rat poison with sugar. That makes sense. Because for me, this falls into the realm of tragedy, but there are points where it feels like it could be a soap opera, and I guess the difference is a matter of execution and a matter of your tastes. The daughter be plotting. See, this is where it turns into soap opera for me. This is where it turns into Death Note. It becomes a chess match.
먹어. 이틀씩이나 안 먹으니 다들 굶어 죽을 셈이야? 쥐약이 들어간 걸 먹는 것보다 죽는 게 나아.
And the repeated idea of lack of sustenance, different characters choosing not to eat at different times. Whether you choose to be poisoned or whether you choose to waste away. And the first character who wasted away was actually... Fuck. Is Cho coming back? Oh man, what a late stage reveal. Cho's back. Yeah, there she is! Man. I would have never been able to tell you what was going to happen in this movie from watching the first act. What a great performance. Like, absolute heel heat. Jealousy's a bitch. Oh my god. They're all just walking dead. It is such fucking madness. So die. Why does she even care so much about this dude? When did this happen? She really is insane. What? Like... what? That's the only explanation. All this could have only come from her being insane. Criminally insane. She's insane. This bitch. She did it. Never invite this kind of person into your house. Some truly psychotic shit. And ending on the imagery of the hands. The hands that are truly soiled at this point. Smoke a ciggy together. Go out like that. She should be dying a lot faster than you. Hey, I was right.
담배 피는 게 싫으세요?
Now I'm gonna deny you at the last moment.
나와 같이 죽기로 했었어. 그러나 마지막은 내 제 옆에서 죽겠어.
Oh, Jesus. Let's see if he reaches. I'm gonna say no. Maybe he'll topple? I say he doesn't reach the glass door. Truly psycho shit. What an unbelievable contortion of human behavior. So wretched. So beautiful. Shocking. Shocking. Has there ever been a film that reaches this level? There are its pale imitators, but the crazed lady movies have no idea that they're living under the shadow of the housemaid. He made it through. All right. Oh my god. Okay. She's just in such a manic state. of needing to produce and produce and produce and save this family that she can't see her own husband dying in front of her. I know this is a weird way to show it, but I have always loved you. And she's using her hands to wipe away the tears. Yeah, I mean, that's the question, right? What is the root cause of all of this unhappiness? Perhaps it's like, a kind of Buddhist interpretation of, like, is want what creates unhappiness? But really, the answer to these questions are unknowable.
결론적으로 교양과 인격 있는 남자가 하녀에게 유혹됐다는 것을 이해 못하겠어요.
Yeah, there we go.
여러분, 남자는 나이가 많을수록 젊은 여자를 놓고
Weird
생각하는
ending.
시간이 많아지고
Weird ending.
그러니까 여자한테 걸려들기도 쉽고 때에 따라서는 패가 망신하는 수도 있죠.
Weird ending.
선생도 그렇고 아니라고 고개를 흔드는 선생도 매한.
I don't doubt it. It's just a weird ending. What the fuck was that ending? What? What? I don't know if I chose to keep this in the video, but if you go back to the video on Funeral Parade of Roses, they also have a little coda at the end, which is like a Telecaster saying something to the effect of, isn't it surprising the depths of depravity men are capable of? And it's told in like a jokey manner, but that movie had a completely different tone to this, where it was self-referential and ironic. So this ending, I don't know. It's just, it was just a little bit abrupt for me. But putting that aside, for whatever reason, I'm sure like there were social constraints, cultural constraints, or whatever that compelled them to have the ending that they chose to like give it a happy ending. I don't know if that fits, but regardless, like the story that this told was just so shocking and so scandalous, and it really was one of the most depraved depictions of this kind of mania that I've ever seen. What I'm reading now is that this was like a warning that this was from his perspective, that the story that he was telling. So that might feed into why the like misogyny is so rampant, and the characterization of this housemaid character was so villainous and so depraved. But I do think that's kind of a cop-out. I do want to embrace this movie being as open and as willing to go into the depths of darkness with this character, to have her be so emotionally needy, so emotionally abusive, and so emotionally wretched and horrifying, and not have it turn, and not have the kind of back door or the excuse of, well, this is just a story told by a man in order to teach you a lesson about not overstepping your bounds. I don't really think there's a lesson to this movie. You could take it away, you could take it or leave it, the lesson, but I think the characterization far outstrips the lesson. I think this is one of the most shocking depictions of a psychotic character that I've ever seen in a movie. Like Amy Dunn, like Alex Winter, the kind of lapses into insanity that occurs in the characters of the remake of this or of Parasite. Like the ending of the remake of this is pretty brutal, I'll give it that. But in terms of in aggregate, the actions of the characters in this movie are so brutal, are so shocking, it far outstrips anything that happens in the movies that take inspiration from this. This is a hugely black movie, like maleficently black, like pitch black to the degree of like its own kind of like Macbeth, like a depiction of evil so feverish and so unrelenting that it's like capturing for me a true kind of evil in film, and it's to be marveled at that they committed so deeply to this depiction. Like, it, for me, it reaches the level of Macbeth. It surpasses the level of Macbeth for me. I don't really love Macbeth that much, but it reaches the kind of insanity of Macbeth, or the kind of insanity of Greek tragedies, of like Medea, where this is a character and these are circumstances that far outstrip the boundaries of human experience, that goes right up against the edge, and all you can do is marvel and fear. So I was extremely fearful watching this movie, and I marvel at its application, at its willingness to go that far. Yeah, I love the imagery of water in this. I love the imagery of glass and reflections and seeing through glass, and the imagery of hands. I this was a little bit obvious, but the metaphor of like the family tree being burned down by lightning, that was pushing it a little bit for me. And the weird kind of casting net that all this horror was enacted on this family because they needed to maintain their position, because they couldn't be seen as a family that falls into scandal, because he needed to keep his job at the factory. It's a scary kind of framing to this movie, that they're trapped under this kind of social and economic lens, that what's keeping them trapped in the house isn't really a psychopath. It isn't really threats or human endangerment. It's actually the threat of the outside, the threat of how they'll be perceived, of what will happen to their names if they're tarnished. It's actually social pressure that creates all of the circumstances of this movie, even more so than human frailty and human folly. And I think that's a really weird position for the movie to take, but it's also really true, that characters are forced to do foolish things, incredibly foolish, incredibly against, at odds with their own self-interest, because of social conditions. I don't know if the movie is trying to say that explicitly, but that is something to take away from the movie. And yeah, and I just want to highlight the performance of Lee Eun-shim as Myung-suk, as the housemaid. Just a brilliant performance, just so good. And I'm sad that she didn't have the career that this performance kind of exemplifies. Yeah, I came into this movie so confused, so disoriented. The first act takes such a like kind of long time to resolve itself, but what happens after that is just like full steam ahead. Really brilliant work. Yeah, a fascinating character, a fascinating depiction of a family, a fascinating depiction of the moral systems and values of the Korean household, of Korean culture in the 1960s and post-war. Yeah, that was The Housemaid. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. Give this movie a watch. In the meantime, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe for more old, obscure, and art house films. Consider joining my Patreon. And until next time, keep watching good movies. Wow. Wow.